this the feed talk device is not so good, and the mobile is, if you can straighten, making straight. Yeah. Okay, welcome everyone. Today we will read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Section. We have the lecture from yesterday and today that are a little bit more based on the topic of the Japa retreat. And yesterday Vajanti was speaking on Sambandha, and most of the practice that we do during the day is connected to Abhideya, the practice that we do. So this morning the topic will be on Prayojana, or the goal of all what we are doing. So it is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 20:125. We just get the word by word first. Please repeat after me. Abhideya. Abhideya. Activities to revive one's relationship. Activities to revive one's relationship. Nama. Nama. Named. Named. Bhakti. Bhakti. Devotional service. Devotional service. Prema. Prema. Love of Godhead. Love of Godhead. Prayojana. Prayojana. The ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life. Purusha Artha Shiromani. Purusha Artha Shiromani. The topmost interest of the living entity. The topmost interest of the purport by Stephen Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devotional service or sense activity for the satisfaction of the Lord is called abhideya, because it can develop one's original love of Godhead, which is the goal of life. This goal is the living entity's topmost interest and greatest wealth. Thus one attains the platform of transcendental loving service unto the Lord. Purport. The conditioned soul is bewildered by the external material energy, which fully engages him in sense gratification in various ways. Due to engagement in material activity, one's original Krishna consciousness is covered. However, as the Supreme Father of all living entity, Krishna wants his sons to return home back to Godhead. Therefore, he personally comes to deliver Vedic literatures like the Bhagavad Gita. He engages his confidential servants who serves as spiritual masters and enlighten the conditioned living entities. Being present in everyone's heart, the Lord gives the living entities the conscience, whereby they can accept the Vedas and the spiritual master. In this way, the living entity can understand his constitutional position and his relationship with the Supreme Lord, as personally enunciated by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedas Jai Sarvai Aham Eva Vedya. Through the study of Vedanta, one may become fully aware of his relationship with the Supreme Lord and act accordingly. In this way, one may ultimately attain the platform of loving service to the Lord. It is in the living entity's best interest to understand the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, the living entities have forgotten that this is the best. Unfortunately, the living entities have forgotten that this is in their best interest, and therefore Srimad Bhagavatam says, Nate vidu sarvata gatim hi Vishnu. Everyone wants to achieve life's ultimate goal, but due to being absorbed in material energy, we waste our time with sense gratification. Through the study of Vedic literature, of which the essence is the Bhagavad Gita, one comes to Krishna consciousness. Thus, one engages in devotional service called abhideya. When the living entity actually develops love of Godhead, he has reached the ultimate goal, prayojana. In other words, one who becomes fully Krishna conscious has attained the perfection of life. In the verse one more time, devotional service or sense activities for the satisfaction of the Lord is called abhideya, because it can develop one's original love of Godhead, which is the goal of life. This goal is the living entity's topmost interest and greatest wealth. Thus one attains the platform of transcendental loving service unto the Lord. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalapaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes. Therefore, I offer him my respectful obeisances. So this is a beautiful verse that describes the devotional service. It's beautiful how Prabhupada writes, devotional service or sense activity for the satisfaction of the Lord. It's actually the abhideya, the process that brings us to the goal, which is prayojana. And the goal is mentioned in this verse to be the living entity's topmost interest and greatest wealth. I found it very, very beautiful. Topmost interest and greatest wealth is this goal, this vision of where we aim in our Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport describe how Krishna is kind, he is like a supreme father, and he is sending the Vedic scriptures. A few times Prabhupada mentioned the Vedic scriptures in the purport, like the one gives us the abhideya, the sambandha, the understanding of who is Krishna, understanding of who we are, what are all the elements of matter, what is spiritual. This is given through the scriptures. But the Lord is so kind that He's also coming as the spiritual master, as the devotees, to really rescue all the living entities from this covering of illusion, from being entangled in the material world. So before I speak further, I would like to ask all of you for your kind blessings and good wishes, so that I may be able to speak something relevant. It's actually a very deep topic and very broad topic. I was trying to boil it down to a reasonable space for the lecture. I hope it will work all right. So today's lecture aims at giving us more awareness of the importance to be connected with our goal. And also we will learn how to set goals and how to reach spiritual goals. So we will see how to become aware of the goal. That's the first. What is actually my goal? Clarifying the goal. And the third section will be how to reach our spiritual goals. So the importance of being aware of our goal. My spiritual master tells the story of a man, an old man, who was walking. He was going to Badrinath, and he was very old. And as he was walking through the villages before, in the direction of Badrinath, people will ask him, "Where are you going, old man? You are so old." And he said, "I'm going to Badrinath to see Badrinarayan." And the people say, "But you are too old, will you manage it?" And the woman would say, "No problem, my mind is already there. So my body will just follow." So that shows how important when our mind is properly set in our spiritual goal, then everything will just follow. Our whole body, everything will be following. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj explained that for a sadhana to be called a sadhana, it needs two elements. It needs our effort and it needs the awareness of the goal. Maharaj said, if you don't have the awareness of the goal and you have just the effort, or if you are just aware of the goal but you don't put effort, technically it cannot be called a sadhana. Sadhana needs to have those two elements. And he gave a very nice point. He said that usually we see sambandha first, then abhideya practice, and then we reach the goal, prayojana. But this actually goal come before. the practice. He said, Sambandha Prayojana Avideya. Because we need to be aware of the goal so that we can actually put strength toward the goal. So the awareness of the goal has to come actually before the end result. We need to have it like to give us direction. And my spiritual master was saying in a lecture in 2004, we should never forget sadhya, our goal, while performing our sadhana. With such kind of strong sadhana, our qualities and abilities in Krishna's service will raise from our heart and we will become very enthusiastic to serve. Meaning that when this goal, this awareness is there, enthusiasm is just naturally generated, that we will be happy and enthused to do our service. Now the scriptures give many analogies that paint pictures for us to connect more with this principle of being aware of the goal. And one of them is the analogy of the boat. I'm not sure if it's directly spoken by Prabhupada, but I heard that a boat without a rudder is for a boat without a rudder, there is no favorable wind. Which gives like a strong point that if you don't have the proper way of putting direction, then you just go nowhere. My spiritual master will give the same example. Sometimes he had some back issues, and this doctor told him you have to go on a boat and row. So he took a small bark and he was there with Madhva Muni, one of his disciples, and he was rowing and doing really all his best for strengthening the muscle. But he noticed after some time that Madhva Muni looked a little greenish in his face, and he said, Madhva Muni, what's happening with you? Are you alright? And Madhva Muni said, yes, Kumash, but we are just turning in cycles, and I'm getting dizzy on the boat. So Maharaj said, oh, I'm sorry. So you look, okay, there is an island, okay, let's try to reach toward the island. So Maharaj was giving this very beautiful and innocent example about the importance of being focused on the goal. But then Maharaj teased or challenged his audience by saying, some of you look a little greenish. Maybe you have lost what is actually the direction where you are aiming in your spiritual life. Another example that Ayantara Prabhu will give is the example of the tightrope walker. The person who is on the rope and walk, if he looks at his feet, he has great chance to fall. So he's actually just looking at the place where he's going, and he's just keeping the equilibrium and just keep fully focused on the goal. And the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the last analogy for today by saying that the Vedic mantra is the bow and the living entity is the arrow. And the goal is Krishna Prem. So the living entity is chanting the mantra, and the mantra is shooting him toward the goal of Krishna Prem. So the verse goes, the Vedic mantra, Pranava, is the bow. The pure living entity himself is the arrow, and the target is the Supreme Being. And Prabhupada writes a little purport that is very beautiful. The living entity tries to be happy within this material world, not understanding the target of his life. When he is purified, however, he gives up his bodily conception of life and his false identity. Then he takes the arrow of his purified life, and with the help of the bow, the transcendental chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he throws himself toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I was thinking also of Srila Prabhupada, and if someone of you know that, I would like to know where that took place, but there was a time, it was quite in the beginning when Prabhupada came to America, that he was sitting on a bench and speaking with a Karli man who was asking him, who are you, what are you doing? And Prabhupada was saying, I have already many temples, I have many devotees, and he was actually already seeing the goal. He was already like fully focused on the goal. Anyone knows where was that? No. Which town or?
It's in New York.
In New York.
It's
Okay.
in New York, and it's a bus driver, Mr. Rubin.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Okay, good. Thank you. So that was a little bit the entry on the topic of becoming more aware of our goal. And mainly what helps us to become aware of our goal is association with devotees and the scriptures. Because when we associate with devotees and we read the scripture, we are just all the time reminded what is our spiritual goal, where we are supposed to go. Now, what is my goal? Because there are ultimate goals, but there are also intermediary, and how do we say that? Yeah, you understand what I mean. The goals that are in between. And in the ultimate goals, the first one, or the most important that we hear today is prema bhakti, the love of Godhead. And this is actually a very deep, profound, and beautiful goal. That sometimes we just say, oh yeah, Krishna Prem, but it's also good, it's prema bhakti, it's bhakti filled with love. And this is, we can connect with this ultimate goal of love, of life, this prema bhakti, when we hear about the loving exchange between the Lord and his devotees. Because there is the pure prema bhakti exchange, and when we hear about that, we get in touch with this prema bhakti. Therefore, anytime we hear about the pastimes of the Lord, we are actually touching the prayojan, we are touching the ultimate goal of life. And Jiva Goswami writes in Gopal Champu, he said, if I hear about Krishna, it's nice, but my heart is not touched. But when I hear about the loving exchange between Krishna and his devotees, then my heart becomes touched, and then my heart becomes to melt. And I was listening recently, Keshava Maharaj was saying that when we hear about the pastimes of the Lord, we should actually try to imbibe the mood of the Lord in the pastimes. What is the Lord thinking? What is happening in the heart of the Lord? And what is happening in the heart of the devotees? How do they feel in their exchange with the Lord? And then we can connect in a deeper way, and then it can impact our heart and give us like desire to achieve this perfection, to also go in that particular direction. And there is one beautiful example in the pastimes of Krishna that gives that is the story of the young Kumaris, who wanted to have Krishna as their husband. They were actually, it is said by Jiva Goswami that since ever they wanted to marry Krishna, since ever. And they were all the time meditating on that. They all the time wanted to marry Krishna. And they were trying to worship different deities and doing different pujas, but they were all the time frustrated. It was not working out. So Jiva Goswami said they will walk in Vrindavan with their pain was pale. They were in distress because they were not able to achieve their goal. But then they met Purnamasi, of Vrinda Devi, I think it was Vrinda Devi, who actually gave them a mantra and gave them a process. And Jiva Goswami said when they started to do this process under the guidance of Purnamasi, their love for Krishna was blooming like flowers in the spring. And they started to do this practice that Purnamasi was saying, which was very severe vrata, severe austerities, that every morning early, and that's happened in the winter when it's very cold. They will leave their house and they will go to Yamuna and take bath in the Yamuna. They will eat only khichdi for 1 full month, without salt, without spices. They will not put any oil on their bodies, even though winter is when the skin is very, very dry. So they started to do all those austerities, and their parents, they were trying to discourage them. The parents were thinking, oh, those young girls, they did such severe austerities. There's no need to do all of that. But as more as the parents were trying to reduce or encourage to reduce their vrata, to them it was like more giving more fire into their determination and eagerness. So in the morning, early in the morning, they will leave, they will call each other, they will take each other's hands, and they will start to walk toward the Yamuna in the dark. And then when they were a little bit further away from the village, they would sing songs glorifying Krishna. And then they would arrive in the Yamuna, they would submerge themselves in the Yamuna, and because of the cold it was full of fog on the Yamuna, and then slowly the sun was rising, and they would be there, they would recite the mantras with their lips quivering in the cold, and the sun would take pity on them and would immediately give like sun rays to warm them up. And they did that for 1 month. So it shows how much they were actually fixed on their goal. They wanted to marry Krishna, and there was no other goal in their life. That's what they really wanted. And when they were going and they were singing songs, they were singing songs that were setting their goal even stronger. They were visualizing their marriage with Krishna. And they were not singing, I will get married with Krishna. They were singing, you will get married with Krishna. So they will put the other one in the center. And here I will read you the translation of their song. And try to imagine, can imagine you are with them early in the morning walking, and you hear what they are singing. Oh my friend, Krishna will marry you. Nanda Maharaj will spread the joyful news everywhere. Your mother and father will distribute wealth to everyone. Clever Krishna will fuel your love with jokes and send us through friends jokes that make you sublimely angry. Krishna will arrive at your home, riding on a brightly decorated bullock cart, dressed in his best finery. Oh friend, when you hear the sound of Krishna arriving outside the house, your heart will be agitated. And when he knocks at your door, won't you faint in bliss? I am certain you will. As you stand before Krishna, you will tremble in ecstasy. And as your father pours water to join your hands with Krishna's, no one but the Lord will know the great happiness in your heart. So this is very, very beautiful, how aware they are on the goal, and how they meditate, and how they see, they can see it in their eyes. And when one is doing like this, just no way to miss it. You will reach your goal when you are so much focused on it. But this goal of Prema Bhakti can also be spoken in a different way, in a different language, can be slightly different. And here, for example, in one purport, Srila Prabhupada said, the only purpose of life is to be fully absorbed in thought of Krishna, his form, pastimes, activities and qualities. If one is able to think of Krishna in this way, 24 hours a day, he is already liberated. Whereas materialists are absorbed in material thoughts and activities, devotees, on the contrary, are always absorbed in thought of Krishna and Krishna's activities. So it can be mentioned differently here. Prabhupada said the ultimate goal is to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Bhakti, this is the main goal we are looking for. That whatever we do in our day, whatever activities that we do, we can do them with love of God. This is like ultimate goal, but at the same time, just right now, something that we can aspire for and look for. I was thinking of Tulsi Puja in the morning. We are setting goals. I want to be an eternal resident of Sri Vrindavan Dham. I want to see the divine couple with my eyes, to have Sakshat Darshan. I want to be a servant of the divine couple. So every day we chant it, and it's also like setting us our direction, the goal of our spiritual life. And then there are, of course, intermediate goals that we can have. Like for example, our japa retreat, we are just all the time setting goals. Any meditation, okay, now we will chant like this or like that, we meditate like this or like that. We give a direction, and we can notice just to have a direction into the practice, it helps very much to get focus and energy into the practice and reaching more, let's say, palpable result that only if the mind is gone and we don't have this direction in which we can apply our energy. Adipusha Prabhu was telling us about having japa plans or japa goals, and he was sharing with us like, okay, the first 4 rounds that I'm chanting, I will meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, and then the next 4 rounds I will pray that I'm in Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi Mandir in Vrindavan, and I'm chanting from there, and I'm begging Prabhupada for his mercy. Then the next 4 rounds, I mean, I'm just making it up, he was maybe saying something else, but to have actually a vision of how we want our japa to be, what is our direction, and that will give us a lot of strength so that we can actually move into the right direction and not just be taken off by all our thoughts and the power of the mind. Other spiritual goal could be observing actually our life, being introspective and seeing maybe what are some of the obstacles that we are facing right now, and making some steps of how actually I can move over those obstacles and get rid of them. I was also thinking Prabhupada was very much empowering devotees to achieve goals. But I think spiritual goals, we can see them in our service, and we can see them as the ultimate goal, the aim of our service and our spiritual practice. But in service, for example, Prabhupada was very much encouraging us setting goals, and he would say when they distribute books, double it, make it double. And I was hearing recently when Srila Prabhupada was printing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he wanted the things to go much faster. And they had like a huge team working on the printing and publishing books, and they were publishing 1 book every 2 months. So Prabhupada said it needs to be much, much faster. So the devotee was in charge, said, okay, Prabhupada, we will give all what we have, and we will print 1 book per month. We double it, shorter time. And then Prabhupada said, no, you will print all the remaining books in 1 month. And there were like 5, 6, 7 volumes that needed to be. So he knew actually the art, and the devotees were actually very energized by the challenge, and they were very eager and that was like such an exciting moment for them to fulfill Prabhupada's instructions. So he was actually very, very often giving high goals for his devotee, and he knew that will keep them alive, that will keep them very enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. But often we have more ability to reach goal. I was thinking Manjula Mani's goal right now, Prasadam Hall. I was thinking Vishnu Priya's goal, Prasadam Deity Kitchen. You know, we might all have different goals here and there connected to our service, but the ultimate goal of our spiritual journey should also not be neglected, should also be like very, very much in front of our eyes, because ultimately all the service that we are doing should bring us to this ultimate goal of life. Now I bring one word of caution. And Bhaktivedanta Maharaj gives this point. He said we have to be very careful when we practice bhakti, that we don't practice bhakti for something else. That we are aware that bhakti by itself is the goal that we want to reach. Because he says so often we might practice bhakti. Shri Shri Radha Mohan Ki Jai. He said very often we might practice bhakti for different goals, which are not spiritual. And there so often we can get tricked by doing bhakti with the desire to be recognized, to be appreciated, that people will, other people will glorify us. Very often this tendency is sneaking into our hearts. So this is the caution when we take goals, that we are making sure that this is for Krishna and not for myself. I remember once during the Kartik Vrata, I was in Vrindavan, and every day I would go to the deities and pray. And I was praying, please make me an advanced devotee. And after sometimes I noticed this is a very dangerous, this is not the right prayer. So I changed it and I said, please allow me to please you. Please allow me to give you pleasure. Because becoming a great devotee might be dangerous, because I might take advantage of that and think I'm actually a great devotee and start to believe that I'm a great devotee. I was thinking also of another, sometimes how we can have wrong goals. When I was starting with Temple President service and I was trying to organize the festivals, my goal in the festival was everything should be perfectly organized. That was a little, sometimes I'm a little perfectionist, sometimes not at all, but sometimes I'm a little bit into this mood. And as a result of this goal that I had, that everything should be as perfect as possible, I would just get burned out every festival. I would just go to after 2 days, you will not see me for one full day. I will be in the forest, sleeping, crying, and fully depressed because it did not work. Then I noticed after sometimes with a little work I did with Gaveshi Mataji, that was actually with Ratnabhushana Bhushana Prabhu, we changed the goal. The goal of the festival is that I go through happy, as a happy temple president, and I can be with people and smile with people and not be crushed by the pressure of my vision of how things can be. And I thought actually sometimes we can have goals that are not fully reaching what we want, and it's actually good. So the caution is when we fix goal that you are actually thinking 2 times, is this goal really going to propulse me or to push me towards pure devotional service? And the last part for today, how to reach the goal. And again, if we take the analogy of the archery, the first one is actually to aim, where to get clear where is the goal. Then one make effort toward the goal, and then the last one we let go of the arrow. And those 3 are actually very relevant. First, in the setting the goal. We were learning this in the leadership management course with Anuttama, and most probably it comes from corporates and like this. But they speak about SMART goal. That means S means, I have to look again, specific. Needs to be specific. That means clear. The goal should be clear. Then M stands by measurable, A achievable, R relevant, and T time bound. Anyway, that's a little bit technical. We are not so interested. But what I want to say is that the goal should be clear. So often it's clear, but it's not present. It's not really there. If someone asks us, yeah, we can say Prema Bhakti, but in our day we did not set it. We are not like fully into the direction. And then we have to make effort, and this means bring focus. Bring focus, bring energy into it. And we know very well this example of Arjuna, who had to shoot the arrow on the eye of the bird. And Drona was asking, what do you see? I see the eye of the bird. Do you see anything else? No, just the eye of the bird. Shoot. So this is also something important. Once the goal is clear, that we bring attention on it, we bring focus on it. Otherwise, it's loose. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks, and those who are on this path, they are resolute in purpose. But those who are not resolute in purpose, their mind is many branched, and there all the energy is spread out all over. We lose a lot of strength. Like sometimes the example of the laser beam that's so concentrated that can cut stone. So we have to bring attention. We need to bring focus on our goal so that the energy is moving. And then the last point, we need to let go. And that's also a very important one, and very much connected also to Bhakti in the pure sense, is that we have to be detached if it will work or not. Because all the other step is very much I'm in control and I do it on my own, but ultimately it's really depending on Krishna if it will work out. Like when you let go of the arrow, who knows if there will be some wind that will blow it away. So once you have thrown it, then it's in the hands of the Lord. And also we need to pray also. So in our making effort, we bring attention, but we need also to pray a lot so that we can reach toward our goals. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. The aim of the lecture was that we become more aware of the importance to be connected with our goal, because this will generate power and strength and enthusiasm in our spiritual life. Often if we are morose or discouraged, or we might have lost the direction of where we actually want to go. And I was trying to bring up some perspective on how to achieve the spiritual goals by setting them nicely, making them clear, making effort in the direction. And even though we can, let's say, mention the goal a little bit like this or a little bit like that, I want to see God in the heart of all living entity. That can be a goal, also a spiritual goal, but we have to make it very, very precise. And last thing, it's actually very interesting to add a notion of journaling, or to take like goals maybe for a week. I was often trying to make journaling after hearing Keshava Maharaj's lecture. I understood it's valuable and good, but sometimes I did not know really what to write. It was nothing really happened today or like this, but actually that's when I'm not introspective enough, because if you check your day properly, so many things, so many gifts, so many signs, so many things are coming to us every day. But I noticed when I set some goals maybe for 1 week, like one goal could be 3 times a day, I will sit for 15 minutes and I will read a little about Krishna. And I will try to think of Krishna. Whatever way I can do, so that can be, or once a day I will speak to the Lord. Once a day I will speak like he is my friend. And I will tell him what I have in my heart. I will offer him some prayer, and I will ask him for his blessings. Things like this. This week, I will read at least 1 chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. Something like this. And then every day when you journal, you check, today, I did not manage Bhagavad Gita today. Okay, tomorrow I will do it. And Jayanti was telling often in the evening, to set the goal for the tomorrow, I will try to do my devotional service in this way or that way, and setting goals in that way. There's some practical tips you might like to use to get strength into your spiritual practice. The main objective should be all the time devotional service, pure devotional service. That whatever I can do, my Lord, I do it with love and devotion. So I stop here. If you have any questions, any comments? Jennifer?
Thank you very much for the class. I was just kind of reflecting on the state of my own heart at the moment, and if I'm like really honest, I can see that the goal is not so big maybe the wish is there somehow, but I feel like there's still so much purification needed for me to really be fixed on this goal. And I feel like there's still so much other motivation when I do devotional service. So my question would be, how do I not become artificial? Like, okay, I would like to achieve love of God, and like if I meditate on that, I'm sure that I don't actually know what that really means. So I think there's this anxiety that I don't want to become artificial in setting this goal, and at the same time I also don't want to lose track of this goal. So what would be like a natural way to, for me to always keep in mind that this is actually my goal, but I'm not there yet, that I can fully feel this in my heart, because it's not really purified yet. So
Okay, thank you. Adipusha was explaining by speaking on Nectar of Devotion, Anya Vilashita Sunya verse, that many devotees have this conception that I will do pure bhakti when I'm pure. And he said you don't need to wait to be pure, to do pure bhakti. You need to know for who it is for Krishna. It needs to be an item of devotional service, chanting, reading, serving, or whatever, and it should be for his pleasure. If you have those three, you can say, okay, now I will say one mantra for his pleasure, for Krishna, and I will do it. It's possible. It's possible to do it. It's not so easy, because usually our mind is just like bombarded by so many other thoughts that often we are not able to do it. But factually, it is possible, and it's possible to try to have such a goal. But if it's too far, maybe we can say, okay, we can limit it. Like maybe at least my first round that I will chant in the day, I will try to do into that mood. Maybe we can make it according to time or place, or at this particular, at least when I offer my food to the deities. This week that will be my goal. Whenever I ring my bell to offer the food, I will really wish that they will enjoy the meal. Things like this, I think, are reachable, even though we are not pure, even though we might have many other desires or needs or things in our life that are pulling at our sari and that we have to deal with. It's all right. We have to go through, but take smaller goals here and there that still give you direction. At least when you do the spiritual activities, when you do something spiritual, at least those moments that you can take good use of the spiritual, you can bring good results in whatever spiritual you do. At least those moments to be, okay, now I'm chanting, okay, now my goal is there, so now I really leave aside, try to leave aside. Maybe in those moments at least try, because it like is Prabhupada said, the verse say, the awareness of the goal is the living at it is best interest. Because when we have it, actually all what we do will be decuplated. It will become more and more and more. It will become much more strong and give much more effect. So we anyway chant, anyway do some activities. So in those moments, if we can get clear where I go, then we are a lot benefited. But of course, we should not plan irrealistically that, okay, from now I will chant all my rounds, Shuddhanam, or we are not pure enough, we cannot do. But some small intermediate plan. And what is super beautiful is that bhakti can be in the ultimate goal, but also in the intermediate goal. Just put it in a reasonable amount of time that could be, and then you try. And then even if you cannot, there is no loss. Even whatever you were, even if it's just one name, you could do it with the proper way. It's actually amazing. I remember during a Kartik Vrata, I was making a Govardhan Parikram, and I came to Radhakund, and I decided, okay, I stop there and I chant. And I had like 6, 8 rounds I wanted to finish, and I was saying, okay, Radha, those rounds are for you, and I was just not able, maybe too tired, or I came to the last round, okay, this one, I will make it for you, and I was also not able, and then what to do, I offered my obeisances, I was ready to leave. When I offered the obeisances, I heard a little voice in the heart, can be the mind, can be someone else, but the voice said, just keep going like this, no problem. I'm happy to see you, Endeavor, even if you are not reaching, and we are not fully interested about the goal. We are more, not, sorry, here I contradict my lecture, the result. Even if it doesn't work, there is actually no loss. It's actually, Krishna and Radharani, they are taking the mood of our service, they are taking our sincerity, our effort that we do into it. This is what is the most important. So focus on those small, essential things. Is that okay? Yes, then Venuya.
The others first.
Yeah, Ananga first and then Venuya.
Thank you, Gaurav, for this very nice combined lecture. I have actually two thoughts. One was the direction of Mataji. I also thought if I'm fixing my goal, almost like sometimes we are coming in this mood to fix the thing, we should reach this and this. And it's almost like hypnotized, it's not coming from the ground of relaxed and natural, but it's coming from the background of I must, that is it's like push, it's not nature. So in this way then, of course, every other step is not nature. And I was thinking actually now when she was asking, I was thinking for myself, what would help me? And I thought actually to be conscious. And sometimes maybe even with very small things, we think we should immediately think of, because sometimes, especially because of Vrindavan, Krishna, it's looking very far away. So our goal is far away, because of course we are conscious that we are not on some level to have this prema, to have these feelings, to have this reciprocation every second, every day, or whatever. So I was thinking is this not actually maybe better to think in the way to see Krishna's hand, like in the day we can always be somewhere completely else, like completely not conscious what we are doing many times. But for me it's also almost like sadhana, to remember, hey, what you're doing now? Okay, what you're speaking now, what and why? Like these small things in the day, which then helping me to also these other things, which are more far away, to connect on my level. So this is the first thought, but I have one more, but maybe you can say something about
Actually, I had it also there. I did not speak much about that, but actually this is Maranam. To all the time remember and refocus and know why I'm doing and how I'm doing and what I'm saying now, and like this is always like recollecting. It's actually devotional service as well. And I think this, when we speak about setting the goal, actually it needs a lot of reflection and a lot of time to think, actually to bring it into awareness. And I also know that the pushing is not always like the most sustainable way. At the same time, it needs to be there a little bit as the conditioned soul. But yeah, I fully agree that as taste come and like this, it should be more like a pulling.
Because sometimes can be like passing by. Because we are completely, when beginning one step is wrong, then maybe the 10th step is completely wrong.
Yeah.
So.
But I think also when we keep regular association with devotees and the reading of the Shastra, we are just like very naturally reminded of what is the goal, and there it goes like in a very natural way. It's, you just read it and you can feel, yes, that's actually what I look for, what I want.
The other thought was just about this one gorilla which you was telling us about Bopis. I was wondering, because there is described they did austerities, like, and then when we are thinking of this, we are thinking like, austerity, okay. For me, austerity is okay. I should know. But I thought maybe they did completely different move, because if one is in love, it's not austerity. You are doing this different move, and they have already this pure bhakti. So sometimes it's like a word for us, but actually it's completely different meaning what they did actually. So there is no problem to stay in the cold water.
It is said that actually when the gopis, they were very playful and they were joke with each other and like this, but it is described when they will worship Katyayani, then they would be like very, very focused on their worship. They were like very, very determined. I just was, while you tell that, I just remember the example of Indra Prabhu, who was actually following all the vratas, all the Katyayani, this vrata, that vrata, whatever opportunity. But he was not doing that because people were telling him to do that. He was just so eager to get this pure love of God that whatever opportunity was, he would just follow. Okay, fast here, but I mean, it was like quite austerities in one sense. Of course, we know we are not going to capture Krishna and Radharani's heart with our austerities. That's very, very, very clear. But in one sense, the devotee wants to have this eagerness to improve, to move, who is past Nishtha and who has this urge. He will just like look whatever possibility is there to actually move forward. Austerity or not, no care.
But I think it's coming with a taste.
Yeah, it comes, yeah.
We cannot push the taste, because otherwise we are really ending in artificial, you know, like doing austere, but actually it's completely wrong. But again, it's actually very connected to this first part which we spoke.
Thank you. Yes, Anjula Mani.
In the Nectar of Devotion, there is the description of one of the qualities of devotional services that is very rare. So it has this very unique quality that we can do it, but it's such a rare thing. It's like this Shiromani, this jewel, is like a jewel, and it's just given to us. So for me personally, this whole process, it's like it's starting with gratitude. That I'm actually given the opportunity to do this very rare thing, which is devotional. So then out of this, there is not this pushing, it's a completely different, like she was saying, that they were loved. So the water was, you know, for them it was not, the whole process kind of like changes. If you change the consciousness of the why and like that. And devotional service is very rare. We have how many millions of people even in Germany, and who's interested? You know, so we have gotten this opportunity. So whenever I think of devotional service, I always think this is for my benefit. This is my chance. This is something I should be really grateful for.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you very much. I have two things, if possible. The one thing is you said you were praying for being an advanced devotee. And my Guru Maharaj said he gave us initiation because he wants us to go back to Godhead at the end of this lifetime. And for me, I feel really longing to, I have strong desire to go back to Godhead this lifetime. And in the morning before I start japa, I pray every morning that I achieve love of God and to all his parcels, and that if he so desires, as he always is, he so desires, please let me go back to Godhead at the end of his lifetime. Is this a too high goal? This is my one question. And And my other question is, since I tried to become a devotee, I had a challenge with focus, because, as you know, I was already 45 as I started to get to know Srila Prabhupada's books. There is chanting, there is reading, there is service, there's so many things, and I want to have time for writing also, so that I'm always in difficulties that there is more to do than before the day is earlier over than I could have done everything what I like to. So how to focus.
Thank you. Actually, I forgot. I also added on my notes into the caution with going back to Godhead. It's actually, Hariprasad has one lecture when we speak about that. It can very, very often be connected to his desire for moksha, desire for liberation, or I want to go back to Godhead because I want to escape this world. So that's something we have to be careful. Going back to Godhead means to go and be a wonderful servant of the Lord. That's a small, sensitive things that needs to be there. When we did the opening of the Japa retreat, we were in underground room, and we had a time when we were praying to Radha Mohan and expressing our intention. And I was watching you. We did a meditation. You were just so deeply absorbed into the meditation. So I'm sure that you don't miss too much focus. Maybe here and there, small things, because the age is also there and like this. But I think in Krishna consciousness, when it's, again, we go back to the taste, when it's something, when you appreciate and you like and you can feel, then you can absorb. I notice, I say, wow, Venuya, she's into it. She's fully into it. So there are a lot of hopes, Okay. Yes, Hari Govinda.
Hi Krishna, thank you for the lovely class. I notice sometimes with goal setting, I can get very disappointed because I set some intermediate goals and I maybe reach just halfway, and when I don't, I'm very critical of myself. I'm like, okay, you should have been able to do that, you haven't done that. Or sometimes it can be a little artificial, as already been spoken. So can you give examples of what realistic goal setting can be like, which is also aligned to our internal values, but also to devotional service?
Yeah, thank you. That's also very, very good point. And also we have different ego structure. We are different people, and some might feel very, very inspired by goal setting, and some might be totally, don't speak to me about that. I mean, it can be different. Different people might connect in a different way. For sure, it's good that the goals are as realistic as possible, and they can always be adjusted. Like, for example, you set some goals, but then you see I cannot do them. Okay, then I divide in half, and I will maybe try to do half of this, and let's see if that works or not. It can always be readjusted, but one of the main difficulties that we tend to set too high, and then we are not able to do, and then we are frustrated. And then Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that in this attempt there is no loss, no diminution, so that nothing is ever lost. So even if Prabhupada in the purport writes, every material attempt, if they don't reach the success, they are failure. But spiritual attempt, even if you don't reach the success, it's already a success. So in spiritual goal setting, you just cannot lose anything. Whatever you are able to do, even if it doesn't match what you were aiming for, it's already a plus. It's already a plus. And then to adjust it according. I think I was giving a few examples of goal setting, of maybe reading a chapter a day, or I will try to not criticize. It's so many things. It's actually good to be, because sometimes Krishna gives us signs where we have to work. We were meeting a devotee in Köln And he said, can you imagine, another devotee from the community, I never spoke to him. I know him, but I never spoke to him. He came to me and he said, I can see you have a lot of anger in your heart. Can you imagine? I never spoke to him, and he comes and he tells me that must be only Krishna. Like last week we had the Japa inspiration, it was on hope. And one participant of the course said, oh, thank you so much. The whole week I'm meditating on hope. And now your meditation came. And so sometimes if you are a little bit introspective, Krishna is showing us actually what we need to do, where we need to work on ourselves, what maybe we need to put more emphasis into our devotional life. And then according to the inspiration that is given us, then we can, okay, this week I will try like this or like that. For me, journaling, taking three goals I try to do during the whole week works quite nicely. But the most important is whatever we do, that we can try to do it with some devotion. That's I think the central one. Thank you. It's okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for your attention and participation. Today we have Japa continues from 10:30 to 12:30, 2 hours this morning, and then we will have the concluding words at 12:30 in Nandakam room, and then 1 o'clock we start with Sunday Feast. Shulamani will give one lecture, Sunday Feast lecture today. So thank you so much for your participation and wishing you all the best. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.